Let's get this sports podcast party started, all right?
The J Reels Podcast.
Why don't you wait until July 1st to make an announcement? What a disgrace. He can rack up all these numbers in October, November, and December, but what really counts is let me see this in January.
The sports rebel without a pause, delivering fast-paced, jam-packed sports talk like no other.
Listen, I gotta call it as I see it. He is not a good player. I'm sick and tired of having to deal with the disappointment of this franchise. When does it stop? And yes, another winter that I can sleep in peace. Coming correct, directed in full effect. Let's get it.
This is the J Reels Podcast. Welcome aboard.
What is happening, Michael people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there as I'm setting up my light here? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic and excellent spirits as June is about to close out in the first half of 2026. That's right, people. Before you know it, it's going to be the second half, 4th of July, Labor Day. Well, might as well just drop the ball right now. Well, no, we're not dropping the ball here. In fact, I'm taking it and trying to carry it back to the house because there's a lot of sports talk to get into as this is the J Reels Podcast with Joe's J Reels. For my first timers, welcome aboard. And for those that bang with me, going back to the very beginning, somewhere in the middle, or even as early as this past Thursday, I welcome you guys and gals back. And if I look like I'm a little frazzled and crazy for those who are watching on YouTube or later on Spotify, I just got out of the shower. It's burning hot. The weather outside is not frightful for yours truly. This is the most wonderful time of the year because by Wednesday, it is going to be almost 100 degrees. Thursday is going to be 100 degrees. Friday is going to be 100 degrees. Saturday is going to be 95. The heat wave is coming, and guess what? Bring it on. But the heat wave right now is going to come through your earbuds, headphones, speakers, wherever you may be listening to because the Sports Dead Zone is not here just yet, everybody, as there's lots to unpack. And let's get right to it. Shout out to my guy, Bio, J-Rod, for hopping on board. I appreciate you both. You know that, my long-timers. And also a quick shout-out. Today, another one of the big followers here, Val B, 22 years old. Got to give her a shout-out. I'm sure she'll jump on board at some point and say hello. But let's get right to it, people. A lot to dissect and for you to digest. And I'm going to start off with the baseball. It is the only sport in town. Yes, I know the World Cup, which I'm going to get to next. And then obviously what's happening with the NBA, a lot of signings, another weird trade by the Hornets. We'll get into the NHL draft, a little bit of that, some signings there, among other things. But the baseball is where I want to begin because for the most part, there are a majority of the teams in Major League Baseball as we're now more than 3 months into the season. And at the halfway point, because, yeah, I could talk about it at the All-Star break. And, yes, I could do like first half previews, whatever. My first half preview is right now. And I'll have more of a quote-unquote second half preview after the All-Star game because that's going to make a little bit more sense as we're going through the break. And obviously that sports period is going to be very quiet. And even though 2 weeks from today, I believe it's the All-Star game. Yeah, the All-Star game is, 2 weeks from tomorrow? Come to think of it, I don't know the exact date off the top of my head. But when I look back at this first 81 games, pretty much the breakdown is as follows. Yeah, we can talk about how the White Sox have been a big surprise. And yes, absolutely so, considering that they're in first place in the AL Central. And the Blue Jays, boy, have they hit an abutment, getting swept north of the border by the Texas Rangers of all teams, who now they put themselves in a position where they are in first place in the wild AL West. I mean, go figure that one. But now what I'm looking at here, even the Braves' hot start and how they're going, well, this is where we're at. And I'll break it down National League and American League. As simply put, the Brewers haven't missed a beat in the regular season from last year to this year. No shocker there. But what are they going to do in October? That's the big question. Here come the Phillies. They were charging. They are 4 in the loss, but 3 games back of the Braves. Remember when the Braves had a 9.5 game lead? Seemed like 5 minutes ago. Well, now here come the Phils. After winning 2 out of 3 at Citi Field over the weekend, and they're playing well. And the Braves, I mean, they've just been awful. Losing to 2 out of 3 to the Giants over the weekend. No offense there, Val. And welcome, Val. I see you in the room. Yes, happy birthday to you, Val, once again. But the Phillies right now, you'd have to think that they're cooking with gas. And I think that they're a big story here because who knows? By the time we get to the All-Star break, they could be in first place. Now, remember, the Braves had beaten the Phillies 5 of 6, including a sweep in Philadelphia earlier this year. But, of course, the old saying, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And with the way the Phillies are playing, you would think that they're going to go past the Braves at some point and get themselves at the top of the NL East and maybe not cruise to a division title, but certainly put themselves in good position to get one of those top 2 seeds, because that's what you want. Now, I understand last year Philly was a top 2 seed. They played the Dodgers in the second round. And they got ousted in 4 games. I get that. But I would think you'd still rather go the way of winning a division, getting either the first or second seed in the league, and then taking your chances from there. And right now the Phillies have been on fire. But the bigger team that's been on fire in the National League, and to no surprise, are the Dodgers. And the Dodgers right now, they are looking forward. They wish that October was this Wednesday, but it's only going to be July 1st. They're going to have to wait 3 more months before they could even think about competitive postseason play. But guess what? This team, even without Mookie Betts for an extended period of time, Blake Snell in the witness protection program, we got to wait for Edwin Diaz, who has not returned yet from the elbow spurs or the floating loose bodies that are in his right elbow. But here they are at the All-Star break, beating the Padres 2 of 3 this weekend, and have what? A 9-game lead, 9.5, I believe, overall, in the National League West. That's all you need to know. Dodgers are cruising. You know that they are going to continue to put the foot on the gas. Yes, there'll be more injuries. Yes, there'll be a lull. They have an interesting test right out of the gate from the All-Star break where they play 3 at Yankee Stadium. That will be 2 weekends from this coming weekend, then 3 in Philadelphia, and then 3 at Citi Field, which sounded like it was going to be interesting at the beginning of the year, but maybe not so much now. But considering that's a long East Coast trip for the Dodgers right out of the gate, so that's going to be an interesting barometer for them to see how they stack up against the Yanks and Dodgers in particular, Yanks and Phillies in particular. So that's what the National League. Yeah, and I know you have the Cubs who won 2 out of 3 against the Brewers over the weekend. And you have even the Marlins have played well, who are, I believe, 6 back of the Braves. And not that you expect them to do anything. Now, I have some interest in them because I have them as an over. And right now, that's looking good. And I'll get to the over-unders in a little bit as far as where I'm at with the teams that I chose way back in March. But when it comes to the National League, you're pretty much going to have those top 4. Phillies, Braves, Brewers, Dodgers. You're probably going to have Cubs. I would think Padres. I'm not going to get into wild card scenarios right now. I'll wait till we get to the All-Star break, and I know we're at the halfway point, but All-Star break 2 weeks from today, we'll unpack it and see where we're at as far as teams that are in the hunt, teams that could get close. Obviously, we have the trade deadline, which is not until August 3rd, so we got that to sink our teeth into. But that's pretty much the National League. Other than that, come on. Do you expect Colorado? Do you expect the Reds, who have really fallen on hard times, even though they got Hunter Green back? The Mets, seriously? But teams like the Marlins, Nationals, are they going to hang around? Can they get any reinforcements to at least hang around when you get into the month of August, and dare I even say September? Teams like the Giants, Rockies, you can forget it. Out to sea, they're going to be sellers. That is your National League. So let's see how this plays out. We'll get to the schedule, of course, in a moment. But now to get to the American League and how I look at this overall, yeah, you could say the Yankees because of their star power and their rotation. And even though they're injured and they played well, despite this past weekend having a frightful time in Fenway, losing 4 straight, with the Rays, who have been hot now, have won 5 in a row, and now they've overtaken the Yankees in the AL East. But we would think when it's all said and done, at least right now, who knows with the trade deadline, what the Mariners are going to do, or maybe even what the White Sox are going to do. Remember, they don't have Munetaka Murakami, who's going to be out for, I believe, a few more weeks. But to me, it is a toss-up. The AL is literally up for grabs. I would think the Yankees are still the pound for pound, the odds-on favorite. But this lineup, as it's constructed right now, although they've been good, but without Judge and even Stanton for that matter, and let's just say Judge in this case, how do you expect them to get through October? Oh, the pitching staff? Yeah, we could say that, but their bullpen is not that good. And even though the likes of Paul Blackburn has pitched well recently, and Fernando Cruz is a live arm, And even though you got guys like Brent Hedrick and Tim Hill, but I mean, come on. You know Aaron Boone is going to have that bullpen burned out by the time you get to late September. And I know a lot of other teams are going to do the same thing because it's not as if these starters are going to go 7, 8, 9 innings. It's going to be a scenario where they're going to go 6, hand it to the bullpen, and away you go. And I know that Brian Cashman will look for reinforcements come the deadline. But to me, what's going to carry them is October because Garrett Cole coming off of Tommy John, who's been okay, he's not going 7 innings in October. Is Cam Schlittler, who can go 7 or 8, are you going to really expect a 23-year-old to carry the mail? And who knows? Is he going to pitch game 1 of the division series if the Yankees do get one of those top 2 seedings in the American League? And to me, the bullpen is what scares me if I'm a Yankee fan because there's no way, shape, or form that I am going to think, despite their record and despite their success without Aaron Judge, that, oh, yeah, it's a foregone conclusion. Now, mind you, the American League, I hate to say it, it's trash. About what? A quarter, a third into the season, we're talking about 2 teams over 500. And they were in the AL East. Now, teams have gotten better, but certainly not to the improvement where we thought that teams would be at least a little bit closer in the American League to the Yankees than they are to, let's say, talk about whatever division. Because when you have Yankees, Rays, you have White Sox, Guardians, you have Seattle. Really, right now, it's Texas, Houston, Seattle. Even the Astros have played well here. I believe they won 9 in the last 12. Cheers. I'm drinking water here for those watching. So this American League, and that's why I mean it's a toss-up. I don't know which team I'm going to truly trust. To bite my tongue, well, I have to say the Yankees. But again, their rotation after Schlittler, who's unproven. I understand he had the one start against the Red Sox in the wild card round and was phenomenal in that game 3, which was decisive. But you have to think, their bullpen, you don't trust Carlos Rodon. Garrett Cole is not automatic come postseason. So if their bats don't wake up, and we know that their bats can fall asleep, even Aaron Judge, and I understand last year, maybe notwithstanding, but still, getting that big hit in a big spot, 8th inning, where it's 3-2, first and second, and he hits a pop-up or strikes out or hits to a double play. I can't put all my chips in the middle of the table when it comes to the Yanks. Same for the Rays. I think they're more of a regular season team. White Sox, unproven. I mean, let's face it. Guardians, I know they've been there, but they're going to nickel and dime you, and God bless them, but they don't have any huge bats in that lineup other than Jose Ramirez. I do like Stephen Kwan, but come on, who are we kidding? And yes, I know the Travis Bazanas of the world, the number 1 pick from a few years back, and the other kid that came up there last year, Chase DeLauder. I mean, those guys, are you really going to think they're going to carry the mail when it's all said and done? And then out west, all right, the Mariners could pitch, but do you trust them? I know they got to a Game 7 last year in the ALCS, but they've been floundering for the most part this year. And the Rangers, I know, have been in the World Series a couple years ago under Bruce Bochy, but again, am I going to look at the Rangers as, they're going to be off and running, unless DeGrom's going to go back to his Cy Young form of 2018-19 when he was with the Mets. And then you have the A's, who I guess a lot of teams think they can match with anybody, but they're pitching a big question mark, and they've fallen back on hard times. So, and the Astros, I get it. They have a couple of players there with some pedigree there, Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez, but still, I'm not going to look at them as a threat, despite the fact that they've been there, done that with a few players who are still intact from their 2022 World Series team. So to me, it is literally a toss-up. I get it. Top-heavy National League. American League, not so much. That's how I look at this first half. And let's see where the dust settles in 2 weeks when we get to the All-Star break. And not that I'm going to do a review of the first half then, because that's what I'm doing now. Because we are literally at the halfway point. Because as I pull up the standings, I think you have about half of the teams in baseball that are at 81. Now, I'm not going to go through every team. I guess I could. But Rays have played 81. Yanks have been over. You got a lot of teams, 82, 82. You got Orioles have already played 85. A majority of the teams, 85, 85, 84. Mets are at 84, so we're already past it. So now's a good time to kind of give you an overview to look to see where we're at. And I know 4th of July is that barometer, and of course we get to Thursday, we could get into certain things then, but right now, to me, that's why I wanted to unpack this, to kind of set the stage for what lies ahead here in Major League Baseball in the second half. And I understand 2 weeks from Thursday after the All-Star break, we'll get into kind of a second half overview or maybe final, whatever. At that point, a lot of these teams are going to play close to 100 games, the final 62, 65 games of the season. And, I'll get into that. And we'll have to wait and see what teams are going to make some moves or what teams we think are going to make moves. Maybe not big monster moves, but remember, you're going to have Tarek Skubal out there. You may have Freddie Peralta out there. Mets should be sellers, as I've said a million times over. And I'm not going to get through the Carlos Mendoza thing again. I'm sure you saw the live on Friday. For those who didn't see the live, I did a live video on Friday talking about Carlos Mendoza. Not going to break that down. All right, they played a little bit more competitively over the weekend against the Phillies, but still, they're not going to do anything. They should just start selling off their players right now, as I've said on Friday, and I will continue to say that. But here's where we're at. And when we take a look at the land here, as we have through baseball, I mean, their teams, American League, Tigers, Royals, Red Sox, Orioles, I mean, even the Jays. Now, I know those teams are in the wild card hunt. Again, I'm not going to unpack that because the wild card is going to be open even for the worst team in the sport, or I should say in the league, which right now is the Royals. They have the worst record in the American League, which is a shame because remember, 2 years ago, they were in the postseason. Actually won a wild card round against the Orioles before losing to the Yankees in the division series. But how I look at it is that even a team like the Royals right now, I'm sure they're thinking, all right, we're 15 under, nowhere near 500, but as a matter of fact, I'll even look it up for the hell of it. How many games back are they on the wild card? They're probably, 8, 9 the most? Let's see. They are 7 back. Now, listen, they're 15 under. I can't put them anywhere in this race. And if I look at it closely, and here I am ready to unpack the wild card, I'm going to go as far as I'm drawing the line at the Red Sox. Red Sox are 4.5 back. The Angels are 6 back, but they're 13 under 500. I mean, seriously? Look at the Mariners. Mariners are 42 and 43 and have the last wild card spot. Now, we would think that's going to change between now and by the time we get to the end of September. But even the Royals, which is crazy to even say, they have it's a big reach, a far outcry to think that they're going to make it to the postseason. But maybe there's some people that think that, hey, they go on a run and these teams keep falling back to the pack. Watch them be 3 back and it's August 1st. But baseball over the weekend, like I said, kind of touched on it. Phillies, 2 out of 3 against the Mets. Braves lose to the Giants out in the Bay. Dodgers will win 2 out of 3 against San Diego. I mean, what more could I even get into as far as the National League goes? I know, like I said, the Marlins have played well. What Nationals are a game over 500. So you have to wait and see what's going to happen there. I know the Cardinals, got to give them a little bit more credit. Cardinals, I know, have really overachieved this year, and they're already at 81, 43, and 38. But they did lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins over the weekend. But still, not for a division, for a wild card. I promise I won't get to the wild card there with the National League. And then Arizona, their game under, although they're actually 2.5 behind. I'm not including Arizona here. And please, Arizona got swept in Tampa over the weekend. So that's what you have there with the National League. And the American League, like I said, Guardians, White Sox is going to be a race, as we know. And they just beat the Mariners 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Jays and Yanks, I already talked about that, how the Rays have leapfrogged over them, winners of 5 straight. Yanks have lost 4 in a row. And look at the Red Sox. Red Sox winning 4, sweeping the Yanks over the weekend. And the Yanks didn't hit. I mean, listen, Sonny Gray pitched a no-hitter to the 8th inning yesterday. And they were 1 hit on Saturday till late. I mean, the Yankees, here I am talking about, they've actually done well. They go to Fenway, where they actually swept the Red Sox in April. And the Red Sox did the favor of sweeping them. And here's the weird thing about the Yanks this year. I was thinking about this morning. The Yankees, although they're game back and 2 in a loss, but the Yankees have got swept 3 times this year. Swept by the Rays in April, swept by the Brewers, and then now swept here by the Red Sox. I may be missing another sweep along the way. And listen, I get it. Teams get swept throughout the course of the year. I get it. But just goes to show you that the Yankees have beaten up on a lot of bad teams. And yes, I understand that the Red Sox have a terrible record, and who knows? The Red Sox pitching actually rose to the occasion because the Yankees did not hit. And it's interesting is that first game where Cam Schlittler pitched had a 3-0 lead, and then it all fell apart to where the Red Sox won 6-3. And after that, the Yankees just went to sleep. I didn't even know what to say. I'm sure the Yankee fans got to be upset this morning to think that, what happened, guys? Here we are playing well. We go to Fenway, and we can't beat the Red Sox one game, let alone get a run. So that's what you have there. And in the West, I don't even know what to make out of the West. We talked about the Rangers sweeping Toronto. I know they've had injuries to the Blue Jays, and unless they got a big run in them. And it's interesting because it was this time last year when the Yankees went to Toronto, swept that series, overtook them for first place. I believe they were 3.5 games behind the Yankees going into that series. And they swept them heading into the 4th of July weekend. And the Yankees lost 2 out of 3 at Citi Field. And the Blue Jays never looked back. Now, the Yankees and Blue Jays ended with the same record at the last day of the season. But because they had the season series won, Blue Jays over the Yankees, and won the division, therefore they had the division series where the Yankees had to go up there. And we know what happened in that series. So I don't think you're going to get any magic from the team north of the border, I would think, here this week. Although they play the Mets to start off the week, and Bo Bichette returning back to Toronto for the first time. So who knows? Maybe the Mets will be the cure of all their ills. So, yeah, and that's what you got. Orioles been a disappointment, although P. Alonso hit another home run yesterday. What more? Do I even need to go there? And like I mentioned out west, Seattle. I know the Astros, like I said, 9 of 12. Think about this. The A's are 40 and 44, and they're 2 games back at first place. That is going to be a mess, that AL West. And who knows? Listen, I picked Seattle to go to a World Series this year, and I believe what was my World Series pick? Was it Seattle-Philadelphia? Let me double check that. I think it was. Hold on. World Series, big MLB preview. Yep, it was Seattle over Philly. Well, Philly's playing better and looking good. Seattle, not so much. So that's what you have with the baseball. Now, let me take a look at the schedule, and then I'll give you my over-unders to this point. Schedule for this week, White Sox in Baltimore, Pittsburgh at Philly, Texas at Cleveland, Tigers at Yanks. Is Skubal pitching? He's pitching tomorrow against Cam Schlittler. Ooh, that's a good one. You have Mets at Toronto, as you know. Washington at Boston, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, San Diego, Chicago, the Cubs, of course. Minnesota, Houston, Miami, Colorado. Angels at Seattle. Dodgers at Athletics, San Francisco, Arizona. And let me see, any other series that I'm missing here? Excuse me, Tampa at Kansas City, St. Louis at Atlanta. Oh, excuse me, Atlanta. Yeah, that'll be a baseball for the early part of the week. And my over-unders, do I even need to go there with this? Oh, yeah, it's, oof. I'm even afraid to even talk about these. Now, here's the interesting thing. Right now, it's very mediocre. It's average at best. Here are your overs. Ready, people? Boston, 87.5 is an over. They won 89 last year. I figured out with their pitching, not happening. Detroit, 85.5. I thought School will be healthy. That division up in the air, who knows? I understand the Guardians play well, but you figure the Tigers last hurrah, not going to happen. Miami, 72.5. You know, I got the pom-poms out for the fish to at least get one of my overs as a win. And right now, what do they have, 44? So all they need to do is win 29 games the rest of the way. No, wait. 44, 29, 73. 29 games. Come on, Marlins. Can we do that? My unders. San Francisco, 89.5. That's a lock. Here's the tricky one. Houston, 86.5. Houston's at what right now? 42. Well, based on their record right now, they're on pace to be under. Yeah, they're on pace to be under. So that's not so bad. Fingers crossed there. And then Colorado is the last pick. They're at 33 and they're 54.5. And they've played 84. So let's just say if I take 33, let's say 32. Yeah, they're going to get over. Yeah, I'll be 3-3 at best. The 2 unders and a 1 over. So yeah, my over-unders look terrible, people. So, I mean, what more can you say? That's why I say from the outset, when you listen to over-unders, you know I'm not a gambling man, even though I know Jay Reel's why talking over-unders. To me, it's just a fun exercise. I love doing that. Over-unders for NFL, NBA, point totals for the NHL, and the same for baseball. And it's just for fun because, like I've said before, I'll say it again probably a million times over. If you take my over-unders to heart and you place bets on them, and if you win, I don't expect any money. And if you lose, don't come crying to me. So that's what we got there. Now, let me pivot. Let me get to what is happening with the World Cup as I put on my soccer cleats and get onto the field. And now we get to the knockout stage where Canada has already beaten South Africa, so they advance. So now you got 31 teams as South Africa is the first team out. And before we take a look at the schedule here, knockout, and especially with the U.S., because that's of course, the one team that everybody's going to take a look at to see where they are in the grand scheme of things, to see if they could get to a quarterfinal. As we said, if they get anything less than that, would be a disappointment. And even if they beat Bosnia on Wednesday, their next game could be tricky, especially if it's Belgium. So that we'll just keep in mind before we get to them. I'm going to go through this glass of water before we get to the end of this podcast. But when we get to the World Cup, let me get to my graphic here. Yeah, where we're at is simply this. With the teams that have been out, and we know about some of these teams. I know South Korea, I believe the coach just quit based on their disappointment here in the World Cup. You had Ecuador, who surprised Germany, and that's going to be one that a lot of people are going to look at to see, does Ecuador have any magic? Now, I don't know if that's the case. I'm sure Germany probably a little pedal off the metal. I didn't watch the game, but I know that their fans were in a frenzy. And Uruguay, I know the muff there by the goalkeeper, and who knows, hopefully there's no consequences and repercussions, because you know how these countries could be when it comes to their soccer talent. Not that not wishing any ill toward anybody, or ill will, if I mix that up, ill will, yeah. But here's what you got, and I'll start with the U.S. We know they have Bosnia on Wednesday, 8 p.m. They're playing at Levi Stadium. I'm not going by what FIFA wants. Oh, the San Francisco Bay Area Stadium. Nonsense. No, I'm not doing that. Let them call it the New York, New Jersey Stadium or Boston Stadium. I mean, come on. I know I touched on that a little bit the other day. Please. Not this guy. But even with the U.S. losing the other day against Turkey, and it was weird because it was so polarizing, that game, because they lost the game, but they rested pretty much their key players, their key starters. But they weren't crisp. They were erratic, weren't really in sync. Is that because they didn't have their main players there? Is that because they thought that we scored 6 goals in the first 2 games? We already know that we're advancing to the knockout stage. Was it a thing where maybe they read the press clippings a little bit? I don't want to say pedal off the metal, but they just kind of breezed through it just so they could prepare for Wednesday night? I don't know. I would say no. I know the players are going to scoff at that and say, that's not the case. We all know what's the deal with Christian Pulisic, because he's going to be the one key ingredient moving forward if the U.S., not to say they have any chance, but he's certainly going to be a big help. And if for whatever the reason he's not going to be there, I think they'll be okay. But as you get deeper into this tournament, when you're playing against the big boys, he's going to need to be there. And listen, I get he has a strained calf, which is very tricky. And obviously that's not a sport where, you can kind of coast. It's not baseball where you could kind of just stay in the field and, you have to run when you have to. I mean, I understand you could kind of depending on the flow of the game, you could take breaks, quote unquote, and know when to push it, when not to. But yeah, with soccer, with cutting and having to maneuver quickly, etc., obviously you cannot risk him tearing an Achilles or getting himself in a position where he could really be out for the rest of the tournament. You want him back close to, if not at 100%. I get it. But the U.S., let's face it, with what they've done here to start, to score the 8 goals in the first 3 games, which has never been seen. No U.S. team has ever done this. The expectation levels, I talked about it last week. Are they going to be able to get to that quarterfinal? Are they going to be able to now make this push? Will Pulisic even play here come Wednesday night? And a lot of people think that they should beat Bosnia. They should beat them. Bosnia, I believe, is the second time they've gotten this far. So there is some inexperience. I get it. They could kind of play that house money role where it's like, hey, we got nothing to lose. We're going to play fast and loose. And, hey, if we get the opening goal, the U.S. will play a little tight. Maybe they'll press, get them into mistakes, and who knows? So I would think that the momentum of this U.S. team is still riding high despite what we saw there against Turkey. I kind of look at that game, not to just brush it off, but you'd have to just say that that was almost a tune-up, considering that they did not play their regulars, and now they can look ahead to Bosnia there on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, which, let's face it, all these games now moving forward, because you're in the knockout stage, is must-see. You got to watch these games. And listen, I'll be curious to see how it's going to go. And even though I know the other day, like the France-Norway game on Friday, which I was pumped up and geeked up to watch, without having Erling Haaland there, I mean, come on. I mean, that just ruined the whole game. France is up 3-1 in the blink of an eye in the first, whatever it was, 35 minutes of the game. And at that point, I kind of tuned out. I said, come on, is Norway really going to come back on France here? And France wins 4-1. But now, and let me bring up the bracket here just to kind of really get an overview. Now, again, with Canada advancing, they're going to play the winner of Netherlands and Morocco. Interesting. But U.S., if they do beat Bosnia, as they expect to, they will play the winner of Belgium and Senegal. Now, they played Belgium back, I believe, in March when they were going through like these friendly matchups, tournaments. It wasn't even a tournament, but these friendly matchups, almost tune-ups for the World Cup. And I believe Belgium handed the U.S. their lunch. Now, I didn't watch. I didn't know. This was based on some of the stuff that I heard. So is that going to be a revenge? Does the U.S. have short memories to think that, oh, wait, or I should say long memories to say, oh, yeah, we remember what happened in March, or short memories to the point where, you know what, it's a new day. I understand that was in the past. We can't harp on that. All we have is what's in front of us. And that's going to be fascinating to see what's going to come out of that. Because in that bracket, if they do happen to get past Belgium, and let's say if it goes chalk in the bracket right above them, or excuse me, in the bracket right below them. No, right above them. My apologies. Where it could be Portugal and Spain. And one of those two teams advanced. And guess what? That game, which will be the semifinal, will be against that winner. So it's either going to be Spain, who came in as the number 1 ranked team overall, or Portugal, obviously led by Cristiano Ronaldo. And listen, if they get that far, that's going to be enormous. That quarterfinal. Or let me say, make sure I got that right. Yeah, why isn't this thing expanded? Yes, that would be a round. No, that'd be a round of 16 game, and then the quarterfinals the next one. So obviously to get to the round of 16 is imperative, because that would mean they beat Belgium or Senegal. Can't dismiss them. But knowing that Spain or Portugal is on the horizon, that's when we're really going to see if this U.S. team stacks well against them. And then after that, you have the quarterfinal, which, let's say you really want to look that far ahead. At that point, then the U.S. is probably looking at France. And listen, if they get that far, no moral victories. I get it. You don't want to be that team that, hey, we didn't come this far to come this far. But if they get to play France, which would be July 14th in a quarterfinal, you do handstands. You do anything to get to that game. Now, anything short of that, if they lose to Belgium or Senegal, that would be rough because of what they've done to this point. As I mentioned, they've scored the 8 goals in the 3 games. We haven't seen that. And let's see what they do against Bosnia, where even if they win 3-1 or 3-0 or a close 3-2 game, who knows? Where they're going to be on the offense to the point where they're going to be expected to have a big output in that game against Belgium or Senegal. So that's what I'm going to look at here. And some of the matchups that I'm going to look at overall, well, before I even get to that, I don't know if I would think that the U.S., if they lose to Belgium, it would be, I would think, in my eyes, I won't say a massive disappointment, but it's going to be a disappointment because of what they've done to this point. Now, if they beat Belgium and lose to Spain or Portugal, you almost have to take your soccer ball and go home. You wouldn't like it. Now, I will say this. If they go up 1-0, 2 or 1-0, 2-0 and have to lose in penalty kicks, 3-2, then that would be a brutal loss. If they play from in front, they got to win the game. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's an all-star team. They have to win. But that's how I look at the USA. And again, we still have plenty of time to unpack that. Obviously, when we get to Thursday's pod, we'll talk about the game, see what lies ahead, obviously with Belgium or Senegal ahead of them, and that's what you have. But as far as the other matchups that I'm looking at that are interesting, I know Cape Verde, we know the odds stacked against them, the small country. Yeah, we get all that, but come on. If anybody could predict the score there, I see that being like 5-1. And that would be a massive upset. But is anybody expecting that? No. Here are the games that I'm really looking at that I think could be fascinating. I think that Mexico-Ecuador game, you talk about they're going to have, and where's that game going to be played at? That's actually tomorrow night at 9. That's in Mexico. Oh, man. That's a home game. So that's going to be fascinating to say the least. See how Ecuador is, like I mentioned, beating Germany. You have England and Congo. Switzerland, Algeria. Colombia, Ghana could be interesting. I like that game. Brazil and Japan. I think that has a lot of appeal. Portugal, Croatia, I think that's also another game that's going to be, or another match that's going to be fascinating. France, Sweden, Germany, Paraguay. I think you have some very good first round. Netherlands, Morocco. I think you have a lot of good first round, or I say first round of this round of 32, which you can sink your teeth into. Ivory Coast, Norway. I know England and Congo. Australia, Egypt. Switzerland, Algeria. But no, some of those other games, I think the highlight games, Mexico, Ecuador, Brazil, Japan. Of course, you're going to look at the U.S. game. Portugal, Croatia. I think those are the real good. France and Sweden even. But France is, I mean, come on, they're a solid favorite. Germany. And yeah, we'll see. And Canada's already advanced. They're waiting to see, like I mentioned, the winner of the Netherlands, Morocco. And when we get to the live stream on Wednesday, high noon, we'll talk about it then, but even more so the podcast on Thursday. So you definitely want to hang your hats on that as we move it along. All right, anything else with the World Cup? No, I think that'll do it. All right, let me get to what's happening on the hardwood NBA. Lace up the high tops. Break that down for a second. We talked about the draft a little bit, as you know, on Thursday's podcast. No need to get into that. But now with free agency tomorrow, 6 p.m., I'm sure you're going to hear a lot over the next few days. And there have been a couple of signings. Isaiah Hartenstein, who signed a 3-year, $75 million extension with the Thunder. Jose Alvarado gets 3 for $14.5 with the Knicks. So he stays put, stays home, doesn't have to go elsewhere. He's from Brooklyn, as you know, went to Christ the King in Queens. So you have those two signings, but you get a lot of rumblings here. We talked about Jaylen Brown the other day on Thursday. Now Kawhi Leonard maybe going back to of all teams, maybe going back to the Raptors. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I'm sure he'll be rumored to go elsewhere. In the meantime, then you have this crazy one with LeBron, maybe even AD going to Golden State, which, could you imagine, with Steph Curry? I mean, that's going to be an old man's home with Curry, LeBron, even AD. Now, are the Wizards willing to give up Anthony Davis? I guess it depends on who they're going to get in return. But to me, the one thing that really had me surprised out of all these deals that have happened since the last time we spoke, and as a matter of fact, let me just pull up the NBA page real quick, just so I can get a better feel for anything else that's happened or anything else that's popped up. Let me just see. Hold on one second. Yeah, there it is. Let me bring that up real quick. Warriors eyeing LeBron AD moves as Green declines his option. And that's the big thing because Draymond declined, which to me, that's a good thing for Golden State because if they really want to bring in Anthony Davis, they could do so because they don't have to pay the $27.5 million that the Warriors would owe him. Now, he has until 5 o'clock to decide on the option, but it says that he declined it. All right. Declined it this morning. I guess he has until 5 to really cement it. But who knows? Let me just see. Warriors have the flexibility to offer James the full $15.1 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception, regardless of any trade pursuit with the Wizards. Yeah, obviously, Jimmy Butler will have to go in the deal to get Davis, with Butler making $50-some-odd million, 55 or so. Remember, he's out until probably, I don't know, maybe February with that ACL. But yeah, listen, if I'm the Warriors, you roll the dice. Does that mean automatically they're going to go to a final? Oh, come on. Let's call it as we see it. Wow, Jannik Sinner. I'll get to the tennis later as Wimbledon has begun. Jannik Sinner is actually down 2-1. Now he's into the 5th set in the first round. And he's going to be a big discussion. Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. Let me stick with the NBA. So, yeah, so you got that going on. But to me, the most puzzling deal out of all, obviously I'm not a GM. I'm far from a front office executive there in the NBA. But what are the Hornets thinking? Not only trading LaMelo Ball the other day, which we discussed, but now they're trading Miles Bridges. And listen, I'm not trying to make Miles Bridges out to be a top 20 All-NBA player. But here is this team that actually had a tremendous final 38 games of their regular season. Had a little taste, although not the bulk of the postseason, had a taste of the play-in. Young coach Charles Lee, a team organization that has done absolutely nothing since they've gone back to Charlotte, first as a member of the Bobcats and then now the Hornets. And not only did they trade their best player, but they also trade Miles Bridges, who is a good player. And I get it that a lot of his minutes have gotten eaten up by Colin Kneppel. But come on, you couldn't find another place for him? Play him at small forward. And not only that, but he still contributed. He gave you what, almost 18 a game, 6 and 4? All right, come on. And they got him for Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, a 2033 first-round pick. And not only that, but they gave up a first-round pick next year. And I believe a second-round pick in 2028 or 9. Why did they give him so much? Last thing I checked is Grayson Allen, although good role player, has his moments where he gets his heat checks, he's shooting and feeling himself. But they gave up that much for 2 bench players? And Royce O'Neal, I know he's had his moments, but come on. It's not as if they got Devin Booker back. Not that they would, it wouldn't make sense, but come on, what are we doing? Just when you thought the Hornets had a little bit of a feel-good, all right, something to build going into next year. Fantastic. Let's see who we get in the draft. We got a nice young core. Well, they just blew it up. I don't know. Listen, I get it, Brandon Miller and Colin Kneppel, but I could see if that was a team that's had some success or they were trading for a final piece where it's like, you know what? I get it's risky to trade LaMelo Ball, but we're bringing back a guy of top 10 All-NBA ilk. Let's say, for instance, they were trading for Jaylen Brown. No, all right. That I can understand. But these deals here, they don't move the needle for the Hornets to be a better team next year than they were this year. I don't know. I don't get it. It does not make any sense. And we'll wait and see. It'll be interesting when we get to, especially the live stream, but even more so Thursday's podcast, because we'll have a better understanding and feel for where these players are going to go. But I'm sure we're going to get a lot coming down the pike tomorrow, because I believe 6 p.m. is when the official free agency period begins. I'm sure the legal tampering is already underway. So, I'll be all over it, and we'll break it down, dissect it, etc. come Wednesday and especially Thursday when we have the live stream and the podcast. They were both live when you think about it at that time. But, yeah, the Warriors eyeing that LeBron AD, I don't know. I guess. But that's what you have at the NBA. I know James Harden, that is, declining his option, wants a new deal with the Cavs. Let's see what happens there. So, as you know, I'm not a big Harden fan, but that's no surprise and not much to get into as far as that goes. All right, now let me lace up my skates. Let me see. Anything else with the NBA? Let me just make sure. No, that's it. Lace up the skates, NHL. You had the draft. We know about Gavin McKenna. I know I got it. My nose is itching. I got something in my mouth. For those who are watching, please, just trying to get it together. Again, going outside. It's hot. I have the fan off just to make sure that no interference with the microphone coming out of the shower. I'm just still starting to cool off. I don't know. I'm a hot mess right now. So for those watching, my apologies ahead of time. Now, we know about Gavin McKenna, drafted number 1 by Toronto. Some of the other draft notes that you have, the Sharks, I know they selected the tallest player ever, the defenseman there, Alexander Komarov, 7'1". On skates, he's got to be 7'4". So he makes Dano Chara look like Theo Fleury. Look him up. So what that means for San Jose, and that's Val's team, of course. What that means for San Jose, we'll see. Now, they got the number 2 pick overall as the ping pong balls bounced well for the Sharks. And with that, let me just see. Hold on one second. That's not coming up. All right. Well, anyway, as we look at that first round, the pick went to Ivar Stenberg, the left winger. So now you got Michael Misa, defenseman that they drafted last year, number 2 overall, I might add. Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith. You bring in this kid Stenberg from Sweden. Like the way I said that, Stenberg from Sweden. Well, anyway, this team is going to be, by the time you get to 2030 and get some veterans there, I know I'm just itching over here. You think I'm a fiend. I don't know. I guess that's what sports does to me. With Stenberg, they have a good young nucleus to look out for. And that's one thing San Jose, and you want to throw this defenseman in the mix too on top of it. I mean, hey, have at it. But the Sabres, they've been wheeling and dealing. We talked about that the other day. They got that 1 pick. Daxon Rudolph, the defenseman there. That was in the trade with the Blackhawks with Bowen Byram. The Rangers, who also picked up Pavel Dorofeyev, I know I said that right, from Vegas. Good scorer, winger that they were able to get. And they also drafted Albert Smits, the defenseman there from Germany. So we'll see what they do. That's the top 5. I'm not going to go through this whole list to break down for you. But the NHL, now as they get into this period where you're looking at signings and how teams are going to go for it here. I know like the Sabres, they also have picked up, who was that here? Oh, they just re-signed, I should say. Beck Mallinston, the defenseman. Oh, excuse me, the forward. had reading defensive from another transaction, which I'll get to. So the Sabres, they've done a lot of shuffling here over the last 72 hours or so. And when it comes to the defenseman, I was going to mention, the Penguins, they drafted a set of twins, Liam and Marcus Ruck. Now, I've never seen them. I don't know anything about them. But they played in Medicine Hat. They're from British Columbia, so they played in the Western Hockey League. I don't know if they're really tough, because you think of Western Hockey League, you think a lot of those tough hockey players. Now, again, they don't breed those rugged ruffians like they once did. But that was another story, because you think back with the Canucks, with the Sedin twins, with Daniel and Henrik. So the Penguins took a page out of the old Canuck textbook to draft, and they took them a day apart. So it wasn't as if they drafted them back-to-back, where I believe when the Sedin twins were drafted, because Vancouver moved up in the draft, they wanted to secure to get the spot. I think it was 4th and 5th overall. When was that? Back in the late 90s, I believe. So let's see what the Penguins do, because the Penguins, let's face it, they're going to have to retool here. They still have their old guard there with Crosby, and Malkin, I believe, is coming back for one more year, and Chris Letang. And listen, I understand they had a very good year, but obviously first round, they got knocked out by Philadelphia, as you know, in the postseason. But the defenseman I was going to talk about was John Carlson, the former Capital defenseman. He, who got traded to Anaheim, signed with the Stanley Cup champion Hurricanes. So talk about adding some reinforcements to a team that's already loaded. And Carlson, very good defenseman, very good numbers this year. What are he playing? 72 games, had 61 points. A guy that's going to help that back line. Little rugged, but also could run the power play. So great move by the Hurricanes there, bringing him into the mix. St. Louis signed Brandon Carlo, the former Boston Bruin, as well as Toronto Maple Leaf, where he last was. And they got him for 2 third-round picks. I believe that's in the next 2 years, or is that 28-29? Let's see. I don't know when that is, 73. No, that was – the Blues traded 73 and 76 on the second day. Oh, so they had the both picks then in the third round. So it wasn't in separate drafts, so good for them. And then the Predators signed Jack Drury to a 5-year, $22.5 million deal. I know the Preds, who tried to piecemeal it when they brought in Steven Stamkos a couple of years ago, but obviously Nashville's had no success there ever since they brought in and who's the other player that they brought in? I believe it was from Vegas. He'll come to me. But NHL, you're going to expect to see more players get new addresses here, more wheeling, more dealing, as the July 1st ushering in the free agency period, which I believe, I don't know if it's similar to the NBA, where starting tomorrow at 6, they can start signing players. But I'll be on top of this to see which top players are going to go. But that is your NHL. And again, even with the draft, even though touching on the Twins and the 7'1" defenseman, who I believe was drafted late, was he not? Let me double check that. Yeah, I don't know if there's a Mr. Irrelevant in the NHL like you'll see in the NFL. Karmanov also became the first Moldovan-born player. Or Moldovan. I think I mispronounced that. Yeah, I don't know what round he was taken in. Let's see. 7th round pick. Yeah, can't say he's Mr. Irrelevant, but certainly a late pick where I figured the Sharks, why not? Take a shot, project. Let's see if he could make the team here come training camp, or maybe he could just get sent down. We'll see. But that's what you have with the NHL. And let me get to a couple other things before I get to your comments. And there are a lot of them I see here that are populated. I want to get to the tennis as I break out the tennis racket. And let me see the latest score with Sinner, because he is fascinating considering what happened there at the French with him when he couldn't get out of the second round due to exhaustion. And I know that the weather in England this first week is going to be mid to upper 70s. Not bad. Next week is going to get to the mid to upper 80s. And for whatever the reason, Jannik Sinner seems to be opposed. That is his kryptonite to hot weather. At the French, in that first week, it was 90 degrees. He succumbed to that, where he was up 2 sets to love and a 5-2 in the third set before he lost in straight sets after that. And right now, he was in a barn burner, considering that he was down 2 sets to 1. And now, I believe let's see. Wow. Right now, he's even in the 5th set with someone who I've never even heard of. Let me pull up his name. Miomir. What's that? Yeah, one more time. And I can actually pronounce this right. Miomir Kekmanovic or Vich, depending. And he lost the first set 6-4, then 6-3. Lost a tie-breaking third set, 7-6, 8-6. And then did win 6-2. Actually just won the 5th game. He's up 3-2. So you would think that he should be home scot-free. But this would be telling, knowing that right out of the gate, he's in a 5-setter against an unknown. And the weather's just going to get warmer. And with Sinner, I understand that he's going to be the odds-on favorite to win this tournament. I get it. You could throw in a few other guys there, whether your name is Alexander Zverev, who finally won his first major there in Roland Garros last month. You could even look at Felix Auger. I know I butchered names here. Auger Aliassime. He's 3 in the world. Novak Djokovic. Other side of the draw from Sinner, I believe. So you could get a Sinner-Djokovic final if it were to go that route. In fact, Djokovic is 7th in the world. So I got to think who's ahead of him. Interesting. But then you have the guys like João Fonseca from Brazil, who had a nice run at the French Open. Also, Rafael Hoder, who I believe won today. Let me see where he's at. I just saw his name pop up. Hoder. Medvedev right now is in the middle of his second set. Won 6-1, up 3-2 on Marin Cilic. I thought I saw Hoder's name. I want to say he played earlier this morning. As I pull that up, or as I look for that match, to me, the guys you're going to look out for here, I understand you can look at those young players. Lerner Tien won his match in 4 sets. Yeah, Hoder won in straight sets, 6-3, 6-3, 7-5. And he's the Spaniard, pretty much, maybe a Rafa 2.0, dare I even say. Cameron Norrie out. Mild upset, a guy who's ranked 26th in the world. Michael Zhang, an American, beat him. And in 3 tiebreaker sets, the first, third, and fifth. So Norrie loses. He's out. And on the women's side, let me see what we got there real quick. And I'll talk about the big story on the women's side. Naomi Osaka right now is in a second set tiebreak, 5-5. She won the first set 6-1. But you have Karolina Markova. Yeah, the women's, you don't have much here. Jessica Pegula won her first. Belinda Bencic won her first straight sets, as well as Pegula. Oh, Maja Trolinska, who actually went far in the French. I believe she got to a semifinal. Out in the first round. Won the first set 6-2, lost 7-5, 6-2, the remaining 2 sets. And then, I guess you have the others to follow. Mira Andreeva, we know she won the French. She's going up in about half hour. But that's your women's for today. But here's what we have when we look at the overview for Wimbledon. I know Serena Williams is coming back, and that's the big story, but to play as a singles, and when is she going to face off? Is that going to be tomorrow? Let's see. When is Serena? Is this a big story? I guess it is, because we know, as illustrious as her career was, and yes, she's going to play tomorrow against Maya Joint, a Brit, it looks like. High noon tomorrow. And she's going in as a wild card. And I'm sure they gave her a soft landing to start, because usually with these wild cards, you go right out of the gate against a top flight player. But I guess they want to see Serena kind of ease her way into this Wimbledon. And to me, Serena has to get to the weekend if there's going to be any news. If she wins tomorrow, people, I'm sure they're going to say, wow, look what Serena did, blah, blah. All right, kudos. Maya Joint, never heard of her. Or Maya, whatever her name is. Did I say Maya Joint? Yes, I did. Just want to double check. She could win a match on Thursday. Fantastic. Saturday, if she wins that match to get herself into next week, then she'll be a story. Until then, I'm sorry. And I love Serena Williams, but there's nothing to discuss. She beats her first two opponents. Great. Even the third round. Now, let's see where she's at in the third round. I'm sure she's going to face somebody that we've heard of or known, etc. But I have to say, if Serena goes out on top tomorrow, she can win 6-bagel. Am I going to say, oh, Serena's back? Oh, look out. Rest of the field, So that's my first storyline. Second, to me, Sinner. Look what he's going through so far. And I believe before we sign off, I'll double check to see if he would actually come across and win that match. But the heat, especially next week, could that get to him? We saw what happened there last month at the French. Right now, all right, it's about, let's see what the temperature is right now, just to get a feel. All England Club. I'll just put London. I would have to think right now, and were they 5 hours ahead? They would have to be in the mid-70s. So right now, it's 75. What's the humidity? 42%. All right. And it is currently what? Oh, they're 4 hours ahead. So it's not even 5 o'clock. But yeah, here are the temperatures next week at Wimbledon. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 82, 86, 86. I understand it's not 96. It's not 92, but we'll see how that fares for Sinner as we move it along. But Sinner, who's a big favorite, won Wimbledon last year, as you know, as he beat Carlos Alcaraz, who's not there again this time. We can only hope to see Alcaraz at the U.S. Open. He's still nursing that wrist injury, which is a shame because he got his career Grand Slam down under at Australia, and we pretty much haven't seen him since. So let's hope for him to get a speedy recovery so he can make it here on the other side of the bridge where I live at Flushing Meadow at the U.S. Open. But Sinner, and then I guess you could look at it, the three S's, storylines for this tournament. Serena, Sinner, Sabalenka. How Sabalenka and her resiliency to bounce back. We saw what happened at the French, how she fell apart there in the semis to where she lost 10 straight games, was about to go up. I believe she was up, 5 love? No. I think she was up 5-2 in that final set and then fell apart to the point where she couldn't regroup. She wasn't as resilient. We all know when she gets in her head, forget about it. The match just goes to you know what. And as the number one ranked player in the world, she is one that, even with this quick turnaround time, to have to get back on the beam and get herself to the point where she's going to have to play top level tennis to see if she can come away with winning Wimbledon, which obviously she's certainly more than capable of doing. But she goes into these ruts and funks mid-match to the point where she unravels. And come on, Sabalenka, we know, is not number one in the world for nothing. But you want to see some toughness. You want to see her gut it out. You want to see her rise to the occasion. That, all right, you're up 5-2, and then all of a sudden you're tied 5-5, and all right, that player wins that set. Okay, let's crank out this last set, go home, and get to a final. Or let's say you're in the final, similar to what we saw at the French last year when she lost to Coco Gauff. It was almost the same scenario. So let's see. I think she's a big story going into this tournament. And Iga Świątek, she's tomorrow. I think it's fascinating. The women's side, a little bit more open. Sinner, who's up 5-2 now. So that's, like I said, there was 2-2. It felt like 2 minutes ago. And now Sinner's taking over, and it looks like he's going to close them out here, you would think, at 6-2. Anything more, I'd be surprised right now. Even if Kekmanovic does get another game, if it's his turn to serve. But you figure 6-3 at best. So we'll wait to see what's going to happen there momentarily. But Wimbledon, I think what's going to happen with them, and then I'll move on to your comments and get to something at the bottom of the hour before we sign off. I think Wimbledon right now, they don't want to have a situation that we saw at the French, where a lot of the big players, especially on the men's side, bowed out. And although it made for intriguing matchups into the second week, but certainly it ended up flat. The tournament there at Roland Garros, I get it. When you get a lot of those top players out, it's similar to the March Madness NCAA tournament when you have a lot of the big teams, the 1 seeds, the 2 seeds out in the opening 2 rounds to where you get to the Sweet 16 and the Cinderellas. But then when they go up against the big boys, whomever's left standing, those games at the half, it's 53-31. And the Cinderella, the glass breaks in a million pieces. Where we saw there at the French Open last month, where same result, where these players advanced, no Sinner out, obviously no Alcaraz, Novak Djokovic lost. You had big stars out, which you thought, all right, well, maybe these players can play a notch or step above. And the only one that did so was Alexander Zverev. But let's face it, it was his tournament to lose, which he did not. So that's what I would think Wimbledon doesn't want. They would want to have Sinner there. They would want to, and as I just right on cue, Kekmanovic did win that next game. It's 5-3, so we think Sinner will probably polish him off, and I think Kekmanovic probably served to get himself a game closer. So we'll see in a matter of seconds where Sinner will win and advance to the second round. And then the women's side, to me, even with Sabalenka and Świątek, who's won major tournaments, and the likes of Coco Gauff, who's got to redeem herself from what happened there at the French, a little bit more wide open. But if you have those top players there, the Jessica Pegulas, the Alina Svitolinas, the Elena Rybakinas, Coco Gauff, Sabalenka, I know I'm missing a couple others, Madison Keys, everything should be gravy. So with Wimbledon just on the way, we'll see how it shakes down, especially as we get into the middle of the week. And then obviously into the weekend before we reconvene next week to where half of it's gone, and we'll see who's left standing and who has a good shot to win the whole tournament at that time. Yeah, and then lastly, do I get into the NFL stuff? I mean, listen, Brandon Ayuk, I don't know what's happening with him. Oh, Sinner does advance? Waffle Iron Whale. Good call there, Waffle Iron. Yeah, they still have it at 5-3 here, but I take your word for it. I would think he was going to win that 6-3 as he did. Good call there, Waffle Iron. I appreciate that. All right, now, before I get to your comments, yeah, the NFL, what? Brandon Ayuk, could somebody, if they haven't done so already, could somebody look after this guy? I'm sure you've seen the videos. I'm sure you've seen what's gone on and read what's gone on. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I know his agent and John Lynch, I guess, seem to be buddy-buddy, and he's blaming it on his agent. That's a mess. But as far as NFL, what else is there? I know that there's a couple of signings. Yeah, how about Chris Johnson? As I put on my helmet and shoulder pads, I'm going to need this only because Chris Johnson, the former running back, Tennessee Titans, I believe went to East Carolina, rushed for over 2,000 yards in 2009, announced that he has ALS. Terrible. Yeah, the Bills not honoring O.J. Simpson. I talked about that on my channel in a short. And listen, they can do what they want. They're right in that regard, considering O.J. And listen, I don't need to unpack that. Then you have, Brendan Sorsby. Even the CFL won't allow him, so he's done for this upcoming year. I don't even think he can go back to school at this point. So he's shot. And he's going to have to be either put on ice or, I don't know what's going to happen here. He's just going to have to sit and wait. Yeah, here it is with Chris Johnson. A terrible story. But that's what you have with the NFL. As training camps are 4 weeks away. Yikes. All right, comments. And then, bottom of the hour. Yes, Zip, morning to you. Fishing Angel, cheers. And then, yes, shout out to Val. Happy birthday to you. Ray, what is happening? What is this here? Yeah, I'm getting used to that. Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely ask this question. If she hasn't answered it already, I'm sure she probably there has. J-Rod, I get up on the Tigers. They stick a fork in them. Yeah, let's see if they could trade off Scooble and maybe a couple other pieces. It's hot here. Hate it. Only until Thursday. Okay. So you're there till Thursday. Nadine, hello. Welcome. I don't know if you're still with us. Oh my goodness, going today. All right, good for you, Val. Yes, that is all true. Vic, I don't know if you're still here. I appreciate you, brother. Dig you too. Much love. Thank you so much for stopping by. As always, Fishing Angel, I'm not complaining about the heat. I love summer weather. It's the humidity that gets me. When you go outside, humidity so high, you have a hard time breathing. Yeah, I can totally understand that. But bring it on. I want all the smoke. We're in Matt Chapman jersey. Now I got 2 hits. Good for you there, Val. Awesome. J-Ross still trying to understand. Hey, as long as you keep counting, you're good. 22 for me. That was an eternity. J-Ross, I'm still trying to understand. I'm 22. Yeah, it's a good one. Got to make it a footing today for a walkway. Too hot out? Yeah, I know the hot is not for everyone, but the heat, I should say. That weather's not for everyone, but I love it. Can't get enough of it. The Novice in the house. Greetings. I got to follow up with you later, the Novice. I didn't forget. Loaded crapper bricks in the truck yesterday. Oh, wow. Especially when it's hot. Waffle Iron Whale, a.k.a. Fuqua Johnson, Tatsuya Mai, Minnesota Fats, Kai Bowie Bull, Everyday Mets, Rhoda Penmark, Jonathan Shonkup. A little too late to fire Mendy and Mets. Oh, without question. And even though, no more what Mendoza watch. So you have to worry about that anymore. There, I was going to say Fuqua. About that, Waffle Lime. Falcons win yesterday. All right, good. Why isn't this working? All right. Yes. Ain't that the truth? How the Mets. Ugh. They are abysmal. How about that there, Val? I know. Draymond did decline. Where's it going to go? Who knows? We shall see. Yep, so I sold the bricks. Oh, nice. Good for you, J-Rod. It was a bad weekend. Yes, that was a bad weekend for the Yanks for sure. Giants go to Colorado. Parody is sent to the baseball chat. Jerry's talking about Yankees. Wait, what does this say? Oh, Adam. Oh, I couldn't even read that. I was reading. I was like, what the hell is this? Willie Adames got injured yesterday, back spasm. I think that's how you spell it. Yep. No, spasm. No, almost. SPASMS. J-Rose talking about Yankee stuff. Yeah. All right. What time, Ray? Thank you, Val. Much appreciate that. Bio, my man. Biggest show on earth playing at Minor League Stadium. Yes. Yeah, it'd be interesting to A's if they're going to match that. Those, I guess they're going to, the 3 days. It should be decent. And I'm sure the Dodgers are going to kill the A's pitching. That's right about the bullpen. Listen, they've been okay, but can't say I'm in love with them. James, remember today? Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they know, as you should be, in what? 14 minutes. Predict the winner of Uruguay, Spain. Yeah, I'd have to say Spain. Uruguay, I know that they have tough game against Spain. I did watch some of that. Spain had more of the action in their end. But Uruguay, yeah, they really didn't do much or really didn't impress me much. They did hang in there, but hanging in there at this point of the tournament that's not going to bode well or equate that to success. Pull short of eye further. Awesome. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, I know. My predictions have been terrible. It's one of the only jobs that you could predict something. If it goes wrong, you still have a job. Because it's happened to all of us. Draymond Green, I mean. I don't know what's. With Draymond Green come to the Celtics. Your thoughts on the Celtics, Jaylen Brown? Oh, yeah, I don't like that either. Mobley, a big man. To me, he's a poor man's Chris Bosh. I like him. Good player. I would not trade for him. I would not. No offense, Evan Mobley. Yeah, not doing it for me. I got to get more water. All right, what's this? That's my team right there. I'm going to be. Yep. No, not nervous. Disgusted, but not nervous. Yes. Yes, Val. Yes, Waffle Iron. She will be my birthday guest. Matter of fact, Val. Oh, is Matt Remby's birthday today too? Tough guy. Oh, and Brooks Raley also. All right. You share a birthday with a few players out there. Is that right? Wait, let me double check that. You couldn't see that there, Val? Hold on. I thought that went through. I don't want that to interfere with the microphone. Did that not go through? All right, I'll have to send that again there, Val. Just give me a second. Bear with me here. Let's see. right, stand by. All right. Check your Twitter, Val. Thank you guys for that. Appreciate it. Yes, go sports. Yes. No. Listen, I'm sure by now everybody knows. I know you posted that. So, yes, Val, absolutely. Seeping through his shoe. Oh, is that right? Oh, that's probably the reason why. Maybe cut a certain way on the grass. I don't know. That's weird. How more Sabio, you guess this? Mod me. Your badge. Have to make up a fake one, Mark, for you? I don't know. Yes, can't forget about that as the Sinner advances. All right, Val. No, sounds good. Oh, here we go. Told you about Floyd, 6 months. Got many more. Did I forget Death Row incident? What are you talking about? Death Row? You're not talking about the records. Suge Knight hanging Vanilla Ice off a balcony? I don't know. Yes, you can. Brandon Ayuk, yes. Oh, boy. Oh, birthday month. Young says there was only 2 now. All right. And not good. Yeah, J-Rose 5 coming is right. And I don't mind running in this weather, to be honest. So, all right, Mark. Yeah. Don't lose, you will win. We all win. Still will pay if it gets to that. Probably will not much after, unless. All right. I can only hope so. Oh, I meant to say earlier wearing chains. Oh, you're wearing the old SF chains there, Val? That's good. Spain has to win. Oh, yeah. I heard about that. Oh, that would be bad. Yeah, that would be really bad. And then Mark with some comments there. All right. Yeah, let me see what's happening here with the sports. I got to get some more water. Yeah, who blames XA? Yeah, you know, clips. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, you had that tie. There's a playoff, the Travelers. I don't know if anybody's watching that. It's not a golf major, but Scotty Scheffler and Victor Hovland. Has that teed off yet? They're in a playoff right now, or about to be. No, it doesn't say. Yeah, so that's what I got, people. That's what's the latest and greatest in sports. Man. And Osaka won in straight sets. All right. Draymond declining. How much will cost the Raptors? Blah, 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 blah. All right. All right. Bear with me, people. I'm just going to get some more water, and then I'm going to stand by for a moment. What subject was that, Mark? I'm curious. Other than sports, was on the J Reels watch list. Oh, wait. All right. I'll get to that in a second, Mark. You want to talk about that? All right, Zip. Other than what's on the J Reels watch list? Yeah, I don't watch much TV, if that's what you're referring to. Is there anything that's on the watch list? Yeah, there isn't anything. Like, I haven't gotten into any of these shows. I know, like, The Bear just came out, the final season. The House of the Dragon, I'm not into that. My wife's into all these TV shows. I can't. I'm sorry. I never, I can't say never. I pretty much stopped watching TV series. Like, the last big TV series that I watched was The Walking Dead, and I stood way too long for that. I should have stopped watching after season 8. It jumped the shark in season 6. But yeah, there aren't any other shows that I get into. I mean, I did watch, let me see, what did I watch recently? There was another show that just came out. A Ryan Murphy show, another Ryan Murphy. Yeah, and it was terrible too. Oh, The Beauty I saw. Yeah, just for laughs. I got to watch some shows with the wife. I just cannot watch anything. But yeah, TV's not really my thing. But yeah, there's not much on the watch list I have. Oh, in sports. All right, Mark, what are you talking about here? Does Mark have permission to record you on dog walks? You got to elaborate on that. With an interviewer, will you be silent? I don't know. What, you want to interview me while I'm on a dog walk? Listen, I got nothing to hide. What I got to hide? What do you want to talk about? You want me on your channel? I'm not getting paid to answer questions. Oh, you cool with interviews? Yeah, what? You want to interview me? Is that what it is you want to do, Mark? Doesn't matter on the sidewalk. Well, let me ask you something. Where do you live in New York, Mark? No, I got to watch over my shoulder for you now. Is that what it is? Last series was Squid Game season 1. Yeah, I didn't watch that. And not because I didn't want to. It's just, yeah, I hear it's fascinating and whatever. But yeah, actually, what part of New York you live in, Mark? You don't have a channel. I do say you say you want to start one. Well, let me ask you, what do you want to interview me about? That's what I'd like to know. Uh-oh. All right. All right, Waffle Line. I didn't realize you were putting that up there. I mean, I did laugh, but let me see. That didn't go through either. Hold on a second. Hang on. You want to talk sports? All right. You tell me. You tell me, Mark. You want to do it like Subway Stories? Like, what's his name? Kareem Rahma. I don't know if you watch those. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. I watch a lot of YouTube stuff. I watch a lot of YouTube. All right. He says he will. And sports. Do I have to bring a bodyguard? Do I got to watch my back? I'm kidding when I say that, but yeah. Let me check one thing. Hold on a second. Keep talking. Yeah. Oh, are you referring to Waffle's comment? All right. Let me hold on a second. I don't understand why. Hold on. All right, stand by. Let's see. What do we got here? Yeah, that should do it. I don't know why it's not working. Is that going to get? Yeah, it should work. It should work, Val. All right, but if you're going to do this interview, but you don't have a channel, so what is this for then? I mean, you just want to interview me just to interview me? All right. Sidewalk is a sidewalk. So instead of side talk, it's going to be sidewalk. Let's see. All right. Hold on. Oh, I see that, the novice. Hang on. Don't answer question. What are you referring to? I don't know what you're referring to. Which question? Are you still talking to me there? All right. The novice. Oh, here we go. Thoughts on Jaylen Brown's dad and Perkins beefing? They said Jaylen's dad is 7 feet tall and former professional boxer. I didn't even know that. Is that right? Thoughts on Jaylen Brown's dad and Perkins beefing? I mean, listen, come on. If I don't even know why Perkins. You know what? Can I say this before I introduce the one you asked me? I'm Mark. All right, Mark. We're going to have to hold off on that for a second. All right. But to go back to the novice. I get it that Perkins has a lot to say. And listen, I like Perkins, former Celtic. But it's just, I wonder if the producers at ESPN, not to say, oh, say something outlandish, or, oh, say, maybe that's what they, I don't know. Like, seriously, why are you getting into the, I mean, it's just stupid. That's why ESPN is such a joke. I did not know about that, the novice. It is such a joke that I can't even wrap my arms around why. Like, if Jaylen Brown's dad's going to come out and say things, fine, he has the right. And I understand Perkins too, but Perkins works for ESPN. What, he's going to engage with Jaylen Brown's dad? If anything, he should just take the high road. Be like, all right, yeah, he wants to say that. That's fine. It's all good. And I'm sure they probably crossed paths and met before, but who knows? You want to ask the questions? That's fine, Mark. I got you, the novice. Thank you. All right. So now, obviously today's someone's birthday. Mark, you may want to avert your eyes. I don't know. You may not like this, but you know what? Hey, she's been a huge supporter of what it is that I've done, podcast, channel, etc. I have to give her a few minutes. She's got the chains on. She's ready to go. That's none other. Val B.
Hello.
How are you? Happy birthday.
Thank you. And then today I turned 22 today.
I know. How you feel?
I think kind of get used to that when you get older, then I'm kind of still getting used to that I'm 22.
Yeah, of course. And it's only going to get better. God willing, you'll be 23 and get to 25. But it's all these years are going to keep flying now, Val. As long as now you pass 21, you're going to be 25, 30, then you'll be 40 before you know it. But hey, let's not rush time. Let's not get crazy. But I'm sure you're feeling, obviously, very happy. What's the big plan for today? What do you got going?
I think I attend. I'll do some Peloton biking, and then I'll go to a restaurant, and I think at night, then I think me and my family will eat cake, and then I'll blow out the candles, and then eat some cake, and then I think I and then me and my family I know my mom I was opening up my presents, and then
Uh-huh.
I'll just I think I I think I'm just I think I always think that it flies by pretty fast, and then I think uh I think 22 is is a big step, and then I think it's pretty surprised now how he turned 22 today. Hmm.
Well, listen, my old saying, as long as you keep counting, you're in good shape. So it's all good. And that's obviously a plus. Now, are you going to go out to dinner? I know you said cake, candles, and all that, but what about dinner? You guys going out? Where are you going?
Oh, I'm not really too sure what the restaurant is, but I think at 5 p.m. I think I'll go out to dinner, and then I kind of forgot what the name was, yeah,
No, it's all
but
right.
I think but I think I'm pretty excited about it, and I think and I think me and my family gonna do pretty good, and then my mom and then my family got me nice phones, and then I and then and I was pretty excited to wake up today and see all the birthday points and all my presents and cards.
Well, that's good. Obviously, that's a good thing. And here it is already, June 29th. It feels like, what was it? About 2-3 weeks ago, you were saying, hey, June 29th, you're bringing out the countdown and all that to get to this day. And now that the day's finally here. So, of course, happy birthday to you, Val. And the Giants, I know they're playing tonight, and I'm sure what you would like would be a Giant victory, considering that the Giants, hey, not too bad this weekend against the Braves. But let's see what they do tonight. And obviously, I know you'll be excited and ecstatic if they win tonight, considering that today is your birthday.
Yeah, I think I'm wondering, this is my San Francisco Giants chains, and I'm also wearing my Matt Chapman jersey, and then Matt Chapman, you got 2 hits yesterday, and he got the baseball and made some pretty good plays out there, and I think it's good to win 2 out of 3 against the Atlanta Braves, which which I'm kind of surprised that the Atlanta Braves didn't beat us, because they're pretty good. Eh.
Yeah, but you won the last 2 games of the series, so you obviously got the series win against the Braves, which I'm sure had to be a surprise, considering that the Braves
Yeah.
have been pretty good all year.
Yeah, and then I see that bio, and then I see this bio says nice chain.
Yep.
Yeah.
So by giving you a birthday shout. And even Mark, to be fair, been saying that for 6 days. I guess Mark has been saying that. And then, of course, he says, why am I the bad guy? But we won't get into that. But he's wishing you a happy birthday, too, which is good. And obviously, that's a plus.
And then I remember, and then I know that on the podcast we got lots of people on the podcast, and then
Yeah.
and then I remember that's we haven't had Brent Tolman in a while in our podcast.
Yeah, I know Brent. I reached out to him earlier this month. I know he said he was going to hop on board at some point, but I don't know. I guess he's been busy and things have been going on, maybe family issues, which I don't know. I'm not privy to, but but I know he's still around, and he said he's still listening. So that's a good thing that, everything seems to be stable on his end. So, but yes, and look at that. And Mark, you're not the bad guy. Listen, we're not trying to get into bad guy vibes. Obviously, you're here for a reason, and I'm glad that you're here, Mark. But, some of the back and forth, at least to me, not really necessary. But again, this is all good vibes. It's all positive vibes. That's all we want here. So, yes, bio. And obviously, Zip Drive is saying he agreed bio as far as Val, #1 fan. And that's why this is your day. This is your spot to share your thoughts. Now, I know real quick, since you are celebrating today, and obviously you already have, it seems like you have the rest of your day mapped out. What's the one thing that you wish for on your birthday that you haven't gotten yet?
I became a Giants fan in May 18th, 2024. But I think what I hope for is that I think the hardest thing for my San Francisco Giants this season is to beat the Diamondbacks. But it will make my day if we beat them today.
There you go. All right. So let's hope for that. So I'll keep my eyes on that. I'm sure you'll hit me up, whether, on Twitter or any of my socials, to say, hey, we won or we lost, because I know Val always sends me stuff, people. Always sending me what's going on in sports, what's happening. And I know sometimes I know Ray does the same thing. Everybody does, which I love, and I appreciate. Even the novice had sent me some stuff that I got to follow up, especially with the whole Anthony Davis. And that's another thing, too. Let me ask you this, Val. Considering birthday wishes, there are rumors that you may have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the Warriors. What are your thoughts?
I think that'll be interesting. But I also had a question for you. So, when Draymond, you can go, but I think it'll be interesting if we had LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
Right. No, but your question is right. He declined his option. That means, he could sign elsewhere. And I'm actually a little surprised by that, because I'm sure he probably hears all the rumors about LeBron and maybe even Anthony Davis coming to the Bay Area. And you would think that he would want to be a part of that, which obviously I understand that if he signed or didn't decline that option, that there's no way they would get both of those guys. But I guess maybe he feels like he could go elsewhere, get more money. Maybe, who knows? Is San Antonio in his future? Maybe the Spurs take a shot at him, because that would be the perfect guy on that team. Knows how to win, could show that young team what it is to play in tough situations. And I think that would, quite frankly, be the perfect marriage, to have him go there for 1 year and see whether or not San Antonio could get not only back to a final, but to win the whole thing.
I also heard like about the San Francisco Giants. I've also heard rumors about Matt Chapman being traded or some
he's played better. And I know there was even one person came out, I think it was about a week ago, said, "Oh, if you're a Met fan, would you make this trade?" And I forgot who was part of the trade, but I said no, only because Chapman is how old now? Isn't he 30? I got to see what his age is. Do you know? I'm sure you know his age. His birthday was not too long ago. Is that right, Val?
I think maybe 33. Or is it?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Matt Chapman. Bingo, 33. Yeah.
I just think it's interesting because I know that Matt Chapman didn't start off pretty great, and then I just know that the first few games of the Giants were a little bit hard when we got swept by the Yankees, and it was pretty tough for the San Francisco Giants at the beginning, but I think we got better.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Chapman, obviously, his trade value has gone up a little bit. He still has 4 years left on a deal. That means he's going to play to 37. And I don't know if I want to play a guy 20. And that's not a knock on the player. It's just a contract. And like I said, if I'm the Mets, I'm not taking in more money like that, especially a player, of that age. If he was younger, different story. But listen, I'm sure there's going to be a team that's going to want a veteran guy who's been around the block, who plays a very good third base. I know his bat has cooled off considerably compared to his early days, but somebody I'm sure will be after him and try to bring him in, I would think, by August 3rd, which is the trade deadline.
Then yesterday I was also watching the Golden State Valkyries for my WNBA team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, and I know you always post about, and how are they doing? I don't even know, to be honest with you.
I looked at it yesterday, the Valkyries have 13 wins and 7 losses, I believe. And then they played against the Liberty yesterday, the New York Liberty yesterday, and then they got the victory, and then the San Francisco Giants won 3-2 yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. And then the Valkyrie, you're right. They are 13-7. Lynx are in first place in Las Vegas. Liberty are fifth. And then, yeah, I know they added new teams this year. Toronto Tempo, Portland Fire. I know Golden State, isn't it their third year there? Or maybe their second.
I think, I'm not sure because weren't the Golden State Valkyries an expansion team? Or
yeah, I believe, yeah, they didn't they come into existence last year, I think? I want to say last year. Nah, I don't want that. Yeah, I think they came in last year. So hang on, I'm looking. Oh, stupid mouse. Wow, it just canceled everything on me. That's not good. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, I'll look that up in a second. No, that's not what I want either.
Do you want me to talk about Brandon Ayuk for a bit?
Yeah, what's your thoughts about Brandon Ayuk?
I was looking at Brandon Ayuk, like I saw his Instagram, and then he kept on posting like all these weird things. How he wants to go to the Commanders and wore a Commanders hat, and then I find it interesting because he hasn't showed up to a 49ers practice in a while, and I'm not sure why he's wearing a Commanders hat, but I just want him to recover and then somebody takes care about him because he seems unwell. But the big thing is I just looked into his Instagram, and then I just never knew why he's posting about the Commanders and.
Well, he wants to go there because his quarterback from college is there, number one. And number two, obviously he's going about it the wrong way. He should just gone to the front office and be like, I want to get traded. That's it. Not posting all these weird messages and talking about his agent and having all these cryptic responses. It's just weird. And I don't understand why that's the case. I don't get it. I understand that everybody dances to their own beat, to whatever that may be. But yeah, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Give me a second, Val. I want to answer a few things here that are in the comments, especially this one here, the Super Cyan Redby. Which international teams and fans do you enjoy watching the most at the World Cup in the United States? I have to say Norway's pretty interesting with the Viking row. I kind of like that. I would have to say that's the one. Now, I don't know any other teams. Yeah, I don't know. There's not another fans teams that have been as, I don't want to say in sync or, yeah, I'd have to say Norway. Not to say that any other teams, if anything, Super Saiyan, what do you think? Do you think Norway? Is there another team? I'm curious to know what you think about that. But to me, I think it has to be Norway for sure. And hang on a second, Val. Let me get to a couple others here. Let's see. The novice Draymond had to turn down his option for LeBron. Absolutely. Totally agree. They could pay him on the back end. Right. Yeah, he's down with clutch. And the Lakers haven't signed Bronny to his team option. Oh. Yeah, I mean, wherever Bronny goes, wherever LeBron goes, Bronny's going to go. It's going to be like Giannis and his brothers. You already know. Hang on. All right, Mark, you got to get cute with that? No, that's not the case. I mean, seriously? What's that on my you mean a watch? Oh, is that right? Wait. Are you talking about this? Men don't wear bracelets? All right. If that's what you think. That's on you. Mark, come on. What's the old saying? David Goggins? Let me not even go there. Come on, Mark. I mean, who are you kidding? You want to ask questions? You want to come out and say all these different things? You want to make it about you and I? Let's go. What do you got to say? You could put rainbows. You could put unicorns. You could put all that stuff. You're talking to somebody who's not. I'm not even going to go there. Anyway, it's a guest. All right, so Val, in closing. So, yeah, that's the deal with Ayuk. I mean, we got to wait and see. Who knows if he's going to get his wish. I mean, that's just a big, giant mess, as we know.
And then also about the Brandon Ayuk situation. I think George Kittle wasn't too happy about it either. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. No. George Kittle. You know, he's going to say. He's always going to be outspoken in what he says. And I know he said something about a week or so ago. But, yeah, all I got to say to that is, to me, whether it's Kittle that's going to – I don't know who's going to come to his rescue. It seems like he just wants out. And all he has to do is just go to the front office. End of story. That's it. So –
yeah, you think why do you think Brandon Ayuk doesn't just request a trade?
Well, right. You would think he would have gone that route, but obviously he hasn't. He's done it in all these different ways via social media. And obviously it makes him, let's face it, makes him look foolish and even borderline desperate for that matter. But, you know.
And
I don't know what to say.
I just think like I've been saying to you on Instagram, I just think that Brandon Ayuk, I think there's also like some people say that you should see a psychiatrist or I just don't get like in NFL. Like I know that's NFL players. I mean, I know a lot of them have gotten arrested this NFL offseason, and then I think NFL players. I think some of them should be a lot smarter with their actions.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Hold on. No, and that's the thing. The actions are going to speak louder than any of the words. And unfortunately, with Ayuk, we're going to have to wait and see what is going to transpire here, whether or not he does get released, whether or not, and I don't know what kind of cap number or dead money that's going to face the Niners if they do that. I'm sure they would rather trade him. It'd probably be less. I'm not a capologist. I don't even know. I know he's making a ton of money, but I don't know to what extent that's going to hurt the Niners as far as their cap goes. But yeah, obviously he can't be on the team, and you know, just based on his behavior here. So, Val, any last words? Because I want to close out, and I want to get to one comment that was said by Mark. I have to do this because now, yeah.
Well, to go, I think whatever, I think like I just hope that my San Francisco Giants win today, and then I think just the honesty for the San Francisco Giants this season is to beat the Diamondbacks, and then I know sometimes the Giants they sometimes struggle. Like one time they can score 3 home runs, and then sometimes they struggle to scoring. But I think,
Right.
and then I think it just and then I was happy to have you to be here on my 22nd birthday. Well, whenever I was a teenager, I thought my teenage years went pretty fast, and then I just can't believe I'm 22 years old. It's crazy to think about.
Well, good for you, Val. I'm happy that you turned 22. May you have 222 more. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. Enjoy the rest of your day. You've been a tremendous supporter for a long time, and I'm glad that you've seen another birthday. And like I said, I hope you see many, many more. Thank you so much again, and happy birthday to you, Val. All right. That was Val. Now, I'm just going to say one thing to you, Mark. You want to put your money where your mouth is? Put your email in the chat right now. I'll send you a link so you can come on live with me right now and talk. How about that? Because you could type up all that stuff. You could type up all that stuff about me saying that, oh, at least, I could put I'll put up because now you're directing this towards me. When you direct it towards other people, that I'm not going to tolerate. But you want to come out, all right, and you want to say this, which, listen, I don't have a problem with anybody. And what I mean by anybody, it's all walks of life. Everybody's human. Everybody has, to me. So, but that doesn't mean I go a certain way or whatever. And what's this on my wrist? And men don't wear bracelets. What are we talking about here? Stop. And then you go, I'm straight. Oh, why? So you got to prove to me that you're straight? And I mean, seriously? Like, come on. Like, what does that mean? And Bio, shout out to you, Mexico. I'm sure. Now, the thing is, I know a lot of those games are down there. The vibe's got to be off the chain beyond belief. So shout out to you, Bio. But you're going to come out with all this nonsense, all right, towards me. All this, all right? And you're the one capping me, gave me a lot. What? Just because I had somebody who's a big supporter of my podcast, who's actually been on my podcast in the past, and now you want to clap at me for all this? Oh, I think I'm sus and I'm this and I'm that. No. Put your email right here, how much I'm paying you. You see, right away, you're showing your ass. How much? No, nothing. No. Come on, my G. You want to put your money where your mouth is? You want to, start talking tough? You want to come out and be like, oh, you want to interview me 1 second? Oh, what about when you're outside walking your dog? All this? Nah, let's go. And this isn't an argument. This is a disagreement. This isn't to come out to be disrespectful. This isn't to come out to have an argument or fight. This is to come out. You want to say all this? Email sent. No, I want it. All right, let's see. Where'd you send it to? I want it in the room here. Because you're posting, you're talking real brolic here in the room about me, preference, all this nonsense. All right, I'm going to look it up right now. Let's see if you sent it. Where'd you send it to? Talking mad tough, man. I'm not with that. Hey, Papa J, what's happening? Gave it. Where? Tell me where. Ether, somewhere in the ether? My chat. Why don't I see it? Hang on. If how much? I absolutely will. Yeah, I don't see it. If anybody sees this email in the chat, can you copy and paste it and put it in the room? Whether it's the novice or Bio, Val. If anybody, everything I say is legit. I don't see it. What's good, Papa? Hey, I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm good. Just trying to iron out some things while I'm on here. Hang on. Where'd you send it? Boy, the backtracking is real. That's all I got to say. Yeah, let's look. I'm looking through my emails right now on my phone. J-Reel's podcast, unless I don't know. You're welcome, Val. Happy birthday. Papa J, what's good? Hey, listen. One more time. If anybody sees, and look, I've gone through every one of Mark's comments. You want? Hey, listen. This was from 12:46 on, before I even came on. This definitely 12:47. That's on my wrist. And listen, I get it. He's trying to get at me, and you know what? It's worked today. Hal Morris in the past, and now he wants to get at me here. But nah. Now you want to make this personal, okay? Then come on here live with me. And let's talk about it. How much I'm paying you? No. Why? You're the one that's out here flexing, being the keyboard warrior that you are. Email sent. These are all your comments that you've posted here. Gave it, I don't know where. Legit. Nonsense. To a bitch back there. I'm going through all your comments. I don't see it. Now he blocks me until I didn't block you. Come on, you're here now. You block. I said what? Nothing. See, I don't see it. Look at this. Papa J, you said 3 times. Mark, come on, my man. Not cool. Not cool. Thank you, Papa J. What's that? Is that the, oh yeah, it's the Niners mascot? I like that. Yeah. He's posted everything else. I don't see anything about an email in the chat. And he said it 3 times, whatever. Yeah, well, he got invisible text. I don't know. Yeah, look, I don't see it either. Absolutely. Thank you, Zip. Yeah, he got put on the griddle. The feet was to the fire, and it's too hot. And I'm giving you the opportunity. And this is out of respect. Again, I know you made it personal, but this is also business. You want to iron this out? We can iron this out right here. And you want to interview me, you want to ask questions, this is your chance. On my show, I'm giving you the opportunity to come on here. And obviously, if you start getting disrespectful, then you're getting cut off. But you want to puff out your chest, you want to talk about, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Like, you got to prove to yourself I'm secure. Like, come on, man. Seriously? Bro, what are you doing? When you have to put it this way, can I go back to this comment that he said here? If this isn't ringing the alarms, a 5-alarm, hold on a second. Let me just make sure I get this first and then. If you got to come out with this statement right here, please. And that's DEFCON 1, Jack. For you to have to put that in the room to say that because you follow up your comments with this and this and this, and then you're going to top it off with that? Like, what is that supposed to do? That's supposed to make me like, oh my God, I don't. That sounds like a you problem, my G. Straight up. Sounds like you've gone to the Andrew Tate School of whatever. I don't know. I can't believe I even mentioned his name on my podcast, but that's the truth. I don't know, man. And I don't know you. I'm going to go. I'll say that. I don't know you, Mark. Just like you don't know me. You know more of me than I know of you based on, listen, you keep coming on here and I still tell you, I appreciate you for just being a part. Right. I don't agree with some of the things you've said about other people in the chat, which you already know. But now you want to point it at me. And I'm like, all right, I'm right here. I'm here to defend myself. And maybe I should let it go. I probably should let it go because I shouldn't stoop myself low. But I don't like that. I don't like that all of a sudden you're going to come out with those type of comments. And right away, I don't care how people could read that. There could have been 1,000 people in the chat room. They could read that however they want. That's not going to bother me. But what bothers me is that now I give you an opportunity to come on here so we could talk about it. And you've said nice things about me and the podcast before and super chats and all that, which I do appreciate. Now, whether I got to take that with a grain of salt now based on this exchange, I don't know, but that's fine. It's all good. But knowing that it's gotten to this point where right now, I've said it 3 times, you're a bitch chat and blah, blah, and whatever. Yeah, look at this. Okay, we'll talk to you. You're blocked. All right. Enough said. Yes, sir. It's Sourdough Sam. That's a good one, Papa J. I like that. Well, put it this way. I didn't know, did he seem upset? I'm just upset because you're not stepping up to the plate. And I shouldn't even be upset because of that. But I thought maybe, just maybe, you'd be like, all right, well, let me hop on board and see. But I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. And you're right, Zip. You're right. I'm going to woosah here. I'm going to land this plane smoothly. Thank you, Zip. And everybody else, for that matter. So. Men stuff. What's men stuff? What is this? What does this mean? Men stuff. I mean, seriously? And look, and even Papa J's putting comments, which I'm not even going to post because out of respect, because I know I haven't posted comments that you have about other people. So again, Papa J, I don't want you to think. Yeah, and I don't know when and how you're going to do that unless you're following me, which I guess I got to look over my shoulder now every 5 seconds. I even asked you live in New York. You said, yes. Yeah, so what part of New York do you live? Let me ask you that. Can I ask you that? And then I'll let it go. I promise. Because, yeah, now every time I walk outside, now I got to make sure that I don't have somebody that's trying to rush me. But anyway. But, yeah, I'll start. Zip, thank you. Bio, everybody else. I'm sure you're probably saying to yourself, man, I can't believe you let this guy get to him like that. And maybe I should have ignored it. Maybe I should have ignored your comments. But you know what? You won again, right? You won again. You didn't win with Hal Morris, even though you got me riled up the very first time and even the second and third time after that. But then I've learned. But that's that. Waffle iron. I won't promise that. All right. You read it here. You read it here, and I got witnesses. And Waffle Iron's on the other side of the bridge in Brooklyn, so. And we got to protect Waffle Iron, a.k.a. Minnesota Fats, Tatsuya Mai, etc. Because you got people swiping at him and all that. No, that can't happen. That better not happen when we're around, if we ever get to meet up there, Waffle Iron. So, yeah. Oh, I didn't want to post that. Yeah, I don't blame you for not posting my comments. I appreciate that, Papa. Thank you. All right. No, I appreciate that. Mark. Well, Mark, are you from the Bronx? Can you answer that one at least? Yes, Val. I liked them. Very nice. All right. I'll get back to your comments. With that being said, let me start landing this sucker. I appreciate all of you. I really do. And you know that. For those who've been my day ones or not, doesn't matter. Because as long as you take out precious time out of your day to watch what does it have to say about sports, then again, that's where all the love has to go back. It's a two-way street. So that'll do it. Another episode. Let me start over again. That'll do it. Another episode in the books. Thank you so much for stopping by. Carving out precious time out of your day to listen to what it is I have to say about the toy department of life called sports. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube at JReels, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Throw me a few stars, write a review. I greatly appreciate it. And if you want to hit me up with any questions, comments, suggestions, you can do so at the following social media accounts: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the JReels Podcast, or JReels on Instagram, Twitter, JReels1, just a number, Twitch, JReels1, just a number, or the old-fashioned way, the JReels Podcast at gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to follow up with you guys and gals, because whether you do or do not know, this is what I love to do. In the blood, in the DNA, talking sports is birth. A Wednesday live stream at 12 p.m. where, yes, we talk sports, but it's a little bit more interactive. More so than this one, because I got to go through what's on my mind first and then get to your comments, but a lot more interactive on Wednesdays. And then we reconvene there on Thursdays, and I may have a surprise pop-up live stream depending on what happens throughout the course of a sports day, where if there's news that has to be discussed right on the spot, you know I'm going to share my thoughts, opinions, everything in reference to that. So if it's sports what you love, diehard, casual fan, anywhere in between, I truly appreciate you, again, hitting that subscribe button. And one more time, as long as I'm alive and breathing and in front of this camera and microphone, I promise I'll deliver nothing but passion, fire, energy, fury with my thoughts, opinions, critiques, praise, analysis, feelings on anything and everything that happens on the water, the diamond, ice, gridiron, hardwood, golf course, racetrack, tennis court, boxing ring, octagon, you name it. From my lips to your ears, from my heart to your soul, from amps, wherever you are, the J Reels podcast always comes correct, direct, and in full effect. From the South Bronx, the South Beach, the South Central, the South Pacific, and all points beyond. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. See you Wednesday on the live stream at 12 noon. Until next time on the J Reels podcast, on the flip, baby. And what we got here? He has to get back at me with that. You know my answer to that. Thank you, Val. I liked your channel until today. Rumble guy here. So now that's it. And G shit. Oh, am I calling my G? What am I supposed to say? You want me to say my guy? I say my guy. That's what the G is for. You liked my channel until today, Rumble guy. All right. Well, listen, I'm not here to rumble with you. You can say you won, whatever. Yeah, you. All right. Did you get the better of me? Mark 1, J Real 0. Congrats. Congrats. End of story. With that said, I don't want to end on that note. But with that being said, because I'll just go out the door with my head held high, with a smile on my face, and make sure that the rest of my day is as productive as these last 2 hours and 10 minutes. Thank you all. Until next time on The Flip.